Sun is shining on this Sunday afternoon here at Gulfstream Park West, and pretty nice vista from our quarter-pole tower as we get ready to cap another week here in Miami Gardens and move ever so close to the opening of Gulfstream Park, the championship meet on Wednesday, December 2nd. I'm glad, Ronnie, the water has receded here for a change, and although we don't have turf today, hard to argue with that picture right now with a bone-dry fast main track.
Yeah, I took a look at the weather for the next few days until we come back on Wednesday, and it looks like no rain in the future, but it's been tough around here. So if that's the case, what I'm trying to say is we'll probably be back on the grass Wednesday. Still need some more drying out. I mean, if you pay attention to the weather in South Florida, this area, Gulfstream Park West and all out west, got hammered. They got like 16 inches of rain or something like that.
I saw a crazy picture because I follow the Sun Sentinel, which is one of the local tabloids, newspapers down here. They had a picture of one of the towns with the hard rock guitar, you know, which basically was a little west of 95, and I mean, my goodness, I mean, people kayaking in the streets there.
Yeah, so it's going to take time. With that said, it's going to take time to dry out, and I always should have been a weatherman in South Florida.
Yeah, you and me both, my friend, without a doubt. Now, we move forward. The day is nice, which we're happy about, and just in regards to what transpired here yesterday, I think overall a good scene setter to what's in store that Wednesday, December 2nd with the opening of the championship meet over at Gulfstream Park. I think we've got Tyler in the back, Jose Ortiz in the middle with the Calumet, the black and gold. Julian's in the Oxley colors. I have not figured out who the rider of the 6 is, who's to the left of Julian. That might be Joel Rosario. I am not sure, but hopefully we'll figure that out before opening day on that December 2nd. And, you know, we dive right into the thick of things, Ron. I mean, you've got what'll likely be a 10-race opening program, and you've got the Claiming Crown on that opening Saturday, and how about a lot of dough in that race 3 starting point in today's Rainbow Six?
Yeah, it's up to 200,000, and if you are just joining us, we're dealing with a fast track. We have sunny skies, but we're not on the turf today, so make sure you handicap all your races for the main track.
Absolutely, and the main track is where it's at for that 1240 Sunday, November 15th opener. We're going to have, I would think, a pretty big favorite in this first race, who is now 3-2 right now, and that is where I am singling in this early pick 5, and maybe a little heavy-handed singling a horse who I think will be odds-on this afternoon, and Pandorica, who's the filly by California Chrome, who's just on a needed dip in for 12-5. I thought she looked pretty good. You know, for a horse that's only run twice, that might be a now or never situation for her against that field today. I'm all about the firsters in the second race, and I've got some insight to shed on Safi's horse, who's probably going to be favored there, I would think, in the one Semper Fidelis, who's a colt by Fast Anna, and I also use Fausto's firster by More Than Ready, who seems to be working quite quickly as well. 3-horse spread for me in the third, 3 dirt horses there. That's the first of 2 off the turf races on the card. The race that confused me, Ronnie, is the 4th, and maybe that's evident because I used more than half the field. In fact, I've got 2/3 of the field there with the 2, 3, 6, and 7. That was a race I just had a tough time making heads or tails of anybody.
Yeah, I got my little bit of a long shot in there. I'm glad you used it with the 2-horse Lady J, who's 6-1 on the morning line. I'm expecting improvement for trainer David Forks. Got a stat I'll show you on that horse in a little while.
And boxed up, or at least used the 3 favorites between San Cocho, the 4 Surf Shack, and the 5, who we both like for the win, in Starship Aramis in the back end of a $36 play. And I'm pretty confident. I know she's a lower level maiden claimer, who I guess in the grand scheme of things hasn't run all that well thus far for trainer Tim Ham, but you could not, Ronnie, handpick a field more modest looking than the crew she's about to run against in Sunday's first.
Well, you look at her past performances. She was second against 16 maidens in her debut. Now she's going to drop to this much easier level today after showing some early interest in fading. That was when they tried her against $32,000 types last time out. It looks like their logical spot. You got Paco Lopez in the saddle. Tim Ham, good trainer. Absolutely the one to beat in here.
Definitely. And then the 8 Lucci Breeze, who's the former Tim Ham horse. She's in for 12-5. And the Mike Deeney horse in the middle of the pack, the number 6 Little Miss Hodor, is in for the 12-5. They look like I thought they'd be the 2 dangers to the big favorite, who's currently 3-2. As we get on to the second, I do like that we're up in class. There's not a ton of race day form to go on in this race outside of really, I think, your top pick, the 5 Tapsational. And I would imagine in you taking the 5 Tapsational, you said, why not? Why do I want to guess with one of the firsters? Was that more or less the MO here?
Yeah, no, I like to turn back to 5.5 furlongs after responding to the addition of blinkers with that second place finish. Now has finished second a couple of times against those state-bred special weight runners going 3/4. Gerald Bennett adds both the second-time blinkers and second-time Sammy Camacho. I'm expecting that improvement. Semper Fidelis, I know you have some some information about that horse.
Yep.
Didn't like the inside post for that horse today. Am I going to leave Saffy off? No.
No, and that is probably a wise move not to leave out the one Semper Fidelis, who I would imagine, again, off the connections and work tab, will almost be favored here by default. But there are some things to like. However, the inside post might be an issue with this colt by Fast Anna. There he is, green sleeves, broke from the gate in his breeze. This is 2 back for him on the morning of Halloween at Palm Meadows. He was off slowly, but quickly gained on his workmate, and I mean, I don't know, it wasn't a Saffy horse he was breezing with, different saddle tail, but I mean, he obliterated this horse that he worked in company with. I was texting a little bit with Saffy after the races yesterday, and I asked him point blank what he thinks about this horse, and he said, to be honest, I think he's very talented, he's very, very quick, and he's got multiple gears. I mean, that's what he showed me in the morning, but that was not a one-off breeze or bad day from the gate. This horse has had, through the course of his preparation to today's second race, evidently, Saffy was telling me, he's not been a great gate horse in the morning, so maybe it is wise to cover your bases here and not go all in on him if he does break poorly.
One of the perfectly named sires for this horse, Fast Anna.
Yeah.
Fast Anna was fast. I remember when Mike Petro had it, a bunch of guys, boy, that horse could run. So, off that, you knew this horse was going to be precocious. We'll see how this one breaks. Tapsation, I told you the reasons why. And then we both used the other horse from Fausto Gutierrez, No Kano, who's the son of More Than Ready, who had back-to-back bullet workouts. So it looks like he's going to show some speed with Pacalito in the saddle.
That's right. The Pockinator has got the call on that colt by More Than Ready. And I like hearing Mike Petro with Fast Anna. He's one of the all-time great guys at the track, no doubt about that. We'll take a little breather here, in fact. We'll chase the rainbow, 200K in the pool, waiting for all of you after this quick break on Gulfstream Park West today.
In the 2-path. Ground on first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
About 45 minutes out from the first race on this 8-race main track fast Sunday here at Gulfstream Park West. Ronnie and Jason, glad you're with us for Act 2 of the broadcast. As we dive into it, Ronnie, we did have a single alive in yesterday's last race, won by that second-time starting colt by Liam's Map for Saffy and Edgard. We begin anew with the $200,000 Rainbow Six jackpot guarantee. It's $200K. And how's the ticket looking?
We got our $43.20 ticket. Did go 3 deep here, but I think it's the same 3 horses you might have used in your early pick 5 with Trisomia, Robin taking charge, and Tofa for me in opening leg. 3 deep in there. That's that race that you were talking about. As I mentioned, a little bit of a long shot with me with Lady J. I'm using Piper and Pray for Rain. I like Pray for Rain the other day. I'm not so enamored with that spot. Actually like really a lot Starship Aramis this afternoon, but I also used Monmouth Drive on my ticket. In race number 6, 2 deep with Catch on Emotional and Always Misbehaving for Danny Gargan. Got a stat on that horse. In race number 7, just went 3 deep in there with the 1, 2, and 3. That one off the turf today. Combination, Long Blade has got speed and Hard Red Candy. Are a lot of people, Jason, going to single the 7? I needed tequila in the last. I wanted a little bit of coverage.
Yeah, who's the other horse you got there?
He's the 7 horse is Midnight Gem, who's was game in defeat for
Right.
Jose D'Angelo with Miguel Vasquez. I just thought maybe he'd win, and then they had the complete turnaround with Catch J&J, but I didn't use that one on the ticket.
I know.
But
Where did that race come from last time out?
I don't know.
Got a good figure for the level. Yeah, I Catch J&J is kind of an interesting horse, even though my gut tells me last time was the time because that horse rocked the tote board. But, yeah, no, I mean, I need the tequila is going to be, I think, for the last race, she's probably no higher than even money or so. She's 6-5 on the morning line and going to be a massive favorite. And in fact, as a teaser, I singled her in my late pick 5. But in talking about this race, you've got 3 main horses. Susan Ditter's Robin Taken Charge, who's in good form, likes the dirt, and has speed. The 7 Tufa in the middle of the pack, who's run fine on the dirt. And then our top pick, and we'll show you Trisomia, who drew in here as the lone main track only. He is the 16 in this spot. This is a pretty crazy race. He beat a field inferior to the one that he's going to run against this afternoon. We have not, Ronnie, inside trip and rail skimming ride aside, we haven't seen many horses do what Trisomia did last time out, where he ducked back inside and you watch him just skim the paint there for a win for Rohan Crichton.
Yeah, you know, it was a really nice performance. You're right, you haven't seen that much. Stretching out the 7 furlongs again, posted that second consecutive victory. He's completely perfect at Gulfstream Park West in those 2 starts, so his main track record is unblemished here. I thought he was the logical one in there, but you can make a good case for Robin Take Charge. Topher, I like the fact that Edgard's jumping aboard today.
Yeah, Edgard on a horse who ran fine on the dirt 2 back. They're the 3 on paper here in that upcoming 3rd race. 4th race in the meanwhile does start the late pick 5, and you've got what I thought was a fairly perplexing Florida bred, very good betting race, by the way. Florida bred, a $25,000 maiden claimer for 2-year-old fillies as the launching pad. You can see I use 4. And, I mean, it's only a 6-horse field, so I've got 2/3 of the field there, which I don't love, but I had a tough time making heads or tails. 3 logicals in the 5th, again, just preferring the likely top 3 choices in the betting. I'm a little worried I didn't use the Gargan horse, the 5 always misbehaving, and we'll talk more about the 6th race in a second. I opted to just go with the speeds, and even if the 2 for Tim Hills, Sagamore Mischief, and Catch on Emotional, the 3 hook up, my hope is they just run 1-2 around the track, and they might just be a little better than the Gargan runner, who may, though, trip out in that race. Good to see Combination back in the mix. I used him. I mean, he's the class and the horse to beat as a true blue hard hitter on the dirt. But Long Blade the Deuce is pretty fast and might control that race for Jose Delgado, and I need the tequila. Big favorite in the last, singled her, $24 play. Nothing too out of the ordinary in Sunday's late pick 5 for me, which we revert back to the opening leg, which will go in the 4th. And, you know, off the bat, Ronnie, Arundel, I think, is in a pretty good spot. The Cohens and trainer Juan Alvarado, because they have the 7 Piper, who I think, maybe not by a wide swath, I think Piper is the filly to beat in this race. We'll talk about the 6 Pretzel more in a second, but I want to get your thoughts on, I think, the right favorite in this spot in the 7 Piper, who did get a good figure last time out.
Well, I think she finds an ideal spot to step up the competition after those back-to-back in-the-money finishes against the 16 claimers. You mentioned connections, Juan Alvarado. Edgar Zaya is handling the outside draw this afternoon, which I think will be good for Piper. We do have that 1 scratch in there, and we do have Joe Bravo on Pretzel today, a horse I know you have some interest in. But yeah. I just was looking for a little bit of a price here with Lady J.
And Lady J, let's get to the stat with David Fox, because I've got her highly rated, mainly because this is one of our favorite second out barns in all of South Florida. I mean, Dave, the consummate professional, and we see his horses maybe not show up and run all that well first out. Second time out, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, you know, with his 2-year-olds, this is now making their second start sprints on the dirt. And it's a big sample, and he's 12 for 47, 26%. That's a good percentage. He's in the money 53% of the time. And you can see the nice return of investment, 317. I don't know if people haven't caught on to this yet over the years, but always one of the angles I look for. And that was my exact reasoning for this. You know, with MSCL Jaramillo penciled in for the return riding assignment, I just thought maybe, I don't think I'm going to get 6-1 today, especially with that 1 scratch in there, makes it a 6-horse field, but looking for a little bit of a price today.
Yeah, I think she'll be, I don't know, maybe a little less than 6. Hard to imagine her maybe less than 9-2 or 5-1
Right.
because Safi's got a firster in the race. That's the 3 times on my side. Don't know about the Winslow Homers first out, but it's Safi and an Angel with that horse. You've got the Abreu horse that might get bet a little bit, who we don't particularly care for, the 4 Cash Up Front, who's in for 25. And then the 2 Arundel horses. We already discussed Piper. I'm giving another shot to Pretzel in this race, who has Jersey Joe Bravo. She's got to run, I think, better than she has in her races to date, but I liked her a lot last time on the dip to maiden 25 and was pretty happy. She broke good. She's up close. The 6 and 9, and the 6 was a big favorite. They are battling, and the 6 isn't in a great spot, yet my hopes of a 4-1 upset were dashed at this point where Pretzel checked so abruptly, and that was about as hard a steady and check. I mean, race-ending trouble into the far turn last time out. To her credit, though, despite nearly, falling over, she was able to re-rally to an extent, and she gets herself to an extent again back in the race. It's not like she threatens the top 2, but I was encouraged by this effort, and I think that was trouble that probably, Ronnie, would have stopped the grade 1 horse. I mean, that was about as legit a steady and check into the far turn as you could possibly have.
Yeah, I mean, you put a line through that race. I mean, even though she showed some interest at the end, so, she comes back. If she gets a clean trip, she's right there. She's, it's smart that you use 4 horses in there because I had that horse further down on the ticket, but, just wanted to keep my ticket where I could afford it. Maybe on a B ticket, you had a horse, you saw the trouble that Pretzel had.
Now, the fifth.
I could have said twisted things, but I wasn't
No,
going to.
you with the puns. I appreciate you going easy.
I backed off.
I'm in a good mood. Thank you for, keeping it that way. Let's, in the meantime, we'll move on to the 5th. We'll go a mile here on the main track. It's an $8,000 3-and-up claimer, and I happen to notice, I looked this morning before you and I came on the air, and I think the 5 Starship Aramis, if I remember correctly, is your best bet on the card. And I would imagine respectable dirt form, got speed, Ken Sweezy off the claim, all the things that I saw and like about this horse, the reason he's your top pick and best bet.
And 3-time winner at the distance. He goes to Kent's barn after the claim. He steps up to this level after failing to reel in that current nemesis who was going really good, Desert General, in back-to-back sprints. So I just thought the 3-time winner at the distance, to me, on paper, much easier spot, or at least I think it's an easier spot. So this one, my best bet this afternoon. I don't know, was this? Yeah, no, this one is third choice on the morning line, so maybe I get a little bit of a price.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be close. I mean, the race for favoritism, in my humble opinion, is pretty close between the 3 Sancocho, who's facing better but really improved second time in the country for Fausto, and I think the 4 Surf Shack, who's in for the 8,000, is going to be bet. You're trying to split what could be a fairly chalky tri-box there with the 1 Mama Drive, who's not going to be a big price himself. I think he's 5 or 6 to 1 in the program. I was just looking, though. His last race was obviously pretty good, and I like when things like this happen. I just noticed he's actually a full older brother to Trisomia, who we both like in the 3rd round. I like full siblings on the same card. It doesn't happen often. I like stuff like that.
Yeah, and the common thread, Desert General, this one actually finished second in front of it for Kathy Mungeon, and Hector Berrios named to ride. His Paco's going to stick with the Mexican-bred Sancocho.
Yes, Sancocho there. All right, let's get on to the 6th. Field of 4. And there's going to be a situation where you've got the 2 speed horses who are going to be pretty clear favorites. Not that the Gargan horse is going to be a crazy price. He'll be 3rd choice. The number 5 Always Misbehaving. But I think the race really centers upon the 2 Sagamore Mischief, who has had a gazillion chances. He's winless in 12. And most importantly, the 3 who I picked in Catch on Emotional. Here's this horse's last race. He ran a pretty big number at 6.5 furlongs. And I walked away from this race, Ronnie, not only, of course, a little disappointed that he didn't wire because he was a massive favorite, and he did run pretty well. I think 6.5, which was the distance of the stretch run we are looking at last out on October 24th, I really think the extra 16th of a mile negatively affected this horse. And turning back and cutting back, again, about 100 yards or so, football field's worth of distance, I'm hoping that makes all the difference this afternoon, where just shorter is better for him.
Yeah, I mean, I got him on top for all the reasons you just mentioned, but always misbehaving. He's debuting locally for Danny Gargan after returning from a long layoff about 9 months. Finished 7, was the favorite that day, but that was against 50 maidens going 6, and it was up at Keeneland. I found the stat here on Danny Gargan. Second after a 180-day plus layoff on the dirt. He's 5 for 10, 50% in the money. 327 is the return of investment, so you would expect improvement from him. I couldn't bring myself to go 3 deep in here with my Rainbow Six, but I can understand you putting Sagamore Mischief in second.
Yeah, I just think he's run a little better than the Gargan horse, even though he's had far more chances, and we'll see how Danny's horse does. I don't think he's got the ability of Sagamore or Catch On Emotional, but if those two really hook up, which could happen, he may just trip out in a 4-horse field. We'll see. That's on the dirt, obviously, in the 6th. Well, a quick one here, short and sweet for race number 7, this is our final off the turf race on the card. It goes at 5. We've got a cast of 6, very much led by a pretty big favorite down on the rail in the 1 Combination, who he was a really neat horse to watch earlier in the year. I mean, basically from right around Pegasus time. In fact, he won Pegasus week, January 26th, with the blinkers added, and he turned into just this unstoppable win machine, claimed by different guys, stepping up. It just didn't matter. He just kept winning. I think, though, when Safi reclaimed him by middle of the summer, Combination was probably due for a break, and clearly Safi obliged. This horse has not run, which I like, since July 31st.
Yeah, anybody that wins 7 for 9 races goes to second off the claim for Safi, went to the sidelines after failing to fire. If you read the short trouble line, says he hit the gate. Maybe, he was just hit the gate and he had to be rested for a while. Who knows? Or like you said, maybe it was a long campaign coming back for Safi. But boy, the number 2 Long Blade has got some speed. This one comes off that bang up dead heat victory, going 5.5 on the turf up there, but he's a speedy son of First Samurai, and he's going to be playing out there and going and running as soon as they pop the gate latch.
Yeah, with Paco, he can turn this thing into a zero-sum game, and although I think Combination, assuming we get close to the good Combination off a needed layoff and convalescing session, Longblade, it may have the tactical edge in this race. Combination's not slow, but he doesn't have the speed to match Longblade, who's got to go just 5 furlongs today and has run fine on the dirt in the past. Let's move on to the 8th race, in fact. It's time for the Sunday nightcap. Like you, I had a tough time going against the 7. I need the Tequila, who was just combination, I think, of trainer change to Ken Sweezy, dirt racing, and just the overall vibe and who she's faced this fall at Gulfstream West. I mean, she's in great form right now.
And she's turning back to the mile after following that maiden victory, going a mile across town with that 2 lifetime scorer, going to mile 70. Looks like the one to beat. I mentioned earlier, I also used Midnight Gem, who was game in defeat. She rallied against the bias and finished that wide second at this level and distance for Jose D'Angelo, who does some good work. And he's got a strong finisher in Miguel Vasquez in the saddle. And we mentioned the Catch J&J. I don't know. That was a complete turnaround for me after that performance 2 starts back.
Will she be, though, one-hit wonder? And not that she's going to be too short in this race. Maybe you're in the range of like 8-ish, 10-ish as far as 10-1 goes. But, man, I don't know where that last race came from. She was almost 40-1. My idea, if the 7 is just too good for these, which is my opinion, trying to wake up the 2 Janet B does it all. Maybe the wet track. She was off the claim for Rohan last time out. One of the few Crichton horses, it seems, Ronnie, that just hasn't run all that well this meet. I'm willing to give her another look, second off the claim for that barn, stepping back onto a fast track. As we turn things over to the man upstairs, Darren Gagne, who's standing by with the scratches and changes for this 8-race Sunday here at Gulfstream West.